we discovered there's a bit of a gap in the law.
Okay.
A bit of a gap. If you'd like to open up charges and search for ammunition.
Okay.
You will note that possession of illegal ammunition is 499 rounds or less. Magazines and the contents within are included in this charge. So if someone has 400 rounds and then 3 30-round magazines, they effectively have 490 rounds, right?
Yep.
When we look at stockpiling, which is over 499 rounds, that contents of magazines clause is not in there. So I had a situation 2 days ago where somebody had 470 rounds of loose ammunition and 4 full magazines of 30 rounds.
Okay.
Which puts them well over 499 as far as possession of illegal ammunition is concerned.
Yep.
But given that they had 470 rounds of loose ammunition and the magazines aren't in the stockpiling charge, technically they weren't breaking the law.
Well, not at that level. Yeah.
I'll call you back. I'll call you back. So, we wanted to broach 2 ideas. Stockpiling obviously has like a lot of loaded like intent, like in what it is, right? Like you're holding it essentially to redistribute or to distribute within, you know, a group or an organization. That's what, to me, when I read the word stockpiling, that's what I think. Now, I would countenance that it might be an idea. We had one guy with like 1,200 rounds of ammunition just on him in that situation the other day, right? And he was ostensibly going to use that all in a gunfight.
Jesus.
Yeah. His barrel would be fucking burned and melted.
Or he may have been the guy that handed out the ammo.
Handing it out, yeah. But we ended up charging them with stockpiling because there's like the letter of the law versus the intent of the law, and given that it has 499 or less and then 499 or more, we figured that it was implicit that it's kind of, that's the dividing line, right? Given that 499 is mentioned in both of them. But that's kind of the broad strokes thing. But because the magazines aren't mentioned in stockpiling, technically he wasn't breaking the law. Because he had, number one, more than 499, and number more than 499 with magazines, but magazines aren't mentioned in stockpiling. In terms of like the definition of loose rounds, open quote, close quote, right?
Yeah. So,
Chad, I'm doing that dad thing where I'm like, got one leg up,
I'm looking at
and it's just, you can just, it's just all crotch. It's just all like crotch right there.
Possession charges. No, what possession charges is that referring to? Is that referring to just like guns in general, or is it referring to the illegal ammunition? Because it sort of contradicts. Because if someone's got 500, you would think you would charge this, but then you also charge. I'm curious what the Part B is meant to reference.
Isn't there modified firearm or attachments? I think that's probably what it means. Like silencers, suppressors, muzzle brakes, enhanced grips, extended magazines in particular.
It does kind of look green.
Or possession of firearm components, which also again is like barrels, slide springs. Oh, but magazine assemblies is mentioned.
Oh yeah, I didn't even notice that. It who is found to be in possession of 16 or more firearm magazines, regardless of classification. What the fuck? Yeah, this seems unrelated to this charge. Like, unless they're trying to say, like, if you have 16, you have over 500, right? But what do magazines have anything to do with firearm ammunition? And there's a charge for magazines.
Yeah, I think that potentially, so the idea that we kind of came across, which I'm not sure if you can have like a misdemeanor possession of illegal ammunition, but like more akin, my idea was like more akin to like oxy, right? Like misdemeanor possession of oxy, felony possession of oxy. It's just
Right.
purely the possession of the ammunition. Because stockpiling carries this loaded sense of like, it's probably found in a property or something like that, right?
Yeah, a stockpile, you generally, you kick in the door and you find it right there. That's the sort of like mental image you get. So
It's what's more implied, right? It seemed bizarre to charge someone with stockpiling just for having it on them,
yeah, I think when Angel came up with this, the general idea was like 500 is such an excessive level. It feels like such an excessive amount for someone to have on them randomly, unless they're, attacking the observatory in military helicopters or something. Like,
I mean, for that situation, I was carrying close to 700 rounds.
mm-hmm.
I think I've got 5 magazines, that's 150. If I need to reload those magazines 2 or 3 times, then I'm out.
Well. Because I remember these came about because Flippy wasn't happy with the old firearm attachments charges, and I don't think it ended how he wanted it. Like, I think he came there with let's just not charge every attachment, and instead this charge, and then I think a couple of the like modified attachment charges came out.
It is quite confusing about what weapon falls under each one specifically. I know that I sometimes when I'm looking at a firearm, I'm like, is this tampered? Is this not tampered? Is this just a class 2? I had it today with a sweeper shotgun, right? That had a serial on it, but obviously it's an illegal class 2, and then it's a bit confusing. But that's aside.
Mhm.
The general idea, or the big linchpin, that someone could take this to court right now. This guy that we charged with stockpiling could take this to court, and he would technically not be guilty of either count based on the way that they're currently verbed, even though he had in excess of what satisfies the possession of illegal ammunition charge. Because it's in excess and not implicitly mentioned in stockpiling.
Yeah, I get you. I will bring it up, see what the others think.
I mean, if that's the way that the kind of justices want to go with it, that we just use these as the open quote misdemeanor and felony, right? The possession and stockpiling.
Yeah.
It is as simple as just putting another sentence on that clause D that says including magazine contents. But again, there's a reason why it says loose rounds, right? So, we didn't want to. I don't want to say, hey, you should do this, hey, you should do that. But from what I can see, the easiest way to kind of cover all the bases is to just put including magazine contents, like it says in possession.
Yeah, I definitely see these small.
You like my sockless shoes, chat? That's why I'm actually showing it off. I've joined the sockless club again. We're advertising. We are taking new members, so if sockless is your vibe, I'm here supporting you.
Charges that you guys have seen issues with?
No, for right now, no. This is just one that I've been trying to get. I've been kind of waiting to kind of, sniper justice and be like, hey, what do you think of this? Because it's not like a massive charge, right? Like, it's not a hag offense or anything like that, but it is just a loophole.
All yours? What do you mean?
That if I can spot while I'm charging somebody, then a defense attorney definitely can.
Do the marshals understand delayed discovery? This is not like a accusatory thing. I had a thing the other day where someone in the LSPD didn't understand delayed discovery, and it was worrying.
Delayed discovery?
We actually had a very long conversation on this point with somebody. I think I got some clarity from Angel as well. I think, ? The notion that if evidence is found, it's 30 days from that point, but can be retroactive if it was something that could not be discovered, rather than we decided not to discover it.
Yeah, so the reason I bring it up is the other day there was a subpoena, and it was for phone records related to a murder. But the person died on the 11th of February, and we got it through on like the 14th of March.
Oh, that's past
So-
30 days then.
So yeah, so Crane looked at that and was like, "This is weird," and then he asked us to discuss it, and we're like, "Yeah, this is seems like it's that they're asking for evidence of something that's out of statute." And so we asked Opal, and she's like, "Well, I didn't have anything until the 13th of March, so I was hoping for delayed discovery." And I'm like, "Well, no, you put in a subpoena for the dead person's phone records. You knew it was a murder. You just didn't have enough."
Wait, I'm confused.
she-
What
So
was
what did
discovered?
she get on the 13th?
It was something that was requested to be sealed, but wasn't like it was like something she was given in confidence. So I mean, you guys can look in the search warrant term to see where I spoke to her about it and sort of put the dots together yourself. I'd rather not just say it. But she was given like a person's final words from someone. And what I told her was it looked like someone waited until the 30 days was up and then gave this thing over with the person's final words as a way to be like, aha, I got away with it.
We had the potential because the person was already dead, yeah, and we would have had that makes sense. We're trying to obtain something that was already obtainable.
Yeah, like if someone went missing for 2 months and then you find the body, you know, they go missing 2 months later, you find the body, autopsy says they've been dead for 6 weeks. Delayed discovery would kick in then because, you know, no one knew they were murdered until, well, law enforcement didn't know they were murdered until you found the body. If someone dies in the ICU and you know that they were attacked and know that it was an attempted murder that then became a murder, then, you know, timer started from that time of death.
What? Yeah, no, we do that. Like, we have, Harris is currently working one, right? Like, someone died and he's asked to kind of go look through everything to see if there's any links or any leads that he can tug on. And to me, that's obvious. Like, if somebody walks up to her and says, "This is what that person told me when I killed them," and it's out of statute.
Like, I can understand Opal's frustration with it, being like, this person's getting away with murder, but that's the way things are set up right now. Is that's what it is. If people feel strongly enough to want to get changed, then, you know, we'll hear it. People can make their voice heard. I don't understand the frustration, but, you know, a statute of limitations in our city isn't just absolving someone of the crime. It's like, at some point you just gotta let stuff go.
Yeah.
Sounds kind of callous when speaking about a murder, but
So was she involved on the original DOA? Okay,
Yep.
well then, I mean, yeah, she chose not to do something until it was too late to do anything.
What if I am a caveman?
yeah, like, well, if you don't have the evidence, then
Have you thought about that?
It sucks, but you don't have the evidence.
Have you
So she
considered that maybe I am a caveman?
did not submit a subpoena at the time to get that person's phone records or anything.
No, she did.
She did at the time.
Yeah, she submitted she submitted as a subpoena to get the dead person's records on the day that person died. Then, you know, 32 days later or whatever it was, she got this thing implicating some people. So she submitted a subpoena to get those people's records for the time of the murder. But, you know, by that point it was too late.
And this is a potentially guilty party walking up to her and saying, "This is what that person said to me when I killed them."
Not quite. It was given to the last words were given to a third party, and then that third party gave it to Opal.
So that third party was withholding the information until it was outside the statute. Not necessarily the intent, but that's what happened, right?
I would say 43516, and you can conclude based on who the person was. Like, I don't think that third party was withholding. I think that third party was given it due to the opposition.
So March the 10th, he received a anonymous phone call. She died on February the 11th. So on March the 10th, yeah, two.
Seems to be that person gave this guy the notebook to gloat because that person would probably do their job.
Well, it seems to me, yeah, it seems to me that this person gave that notebook right before the statute window. Question mark. 2 days prior, so the 8th of March. So that's what, like less than 4 days, given that it's February and there's less days in February, like through 4 or 5 days before the end of statute.
Yeah.
And
then
by the
this wasn't
time,
submitted till the
I'd
15th.
say that kind of is delayed discovery.
Well, the way it's worded, delayed discovery says if a crime or basis for civil action is discovered. The crime was discovered the day it was committed. Like,
Yeah, but the probable cause, I guess, for this subpoena was not discovered until she was given the information by Frank. Right. And it's contributory to something that happened a while ago.
It had been submitted on the day she got
sure.
it. Like, because if you look at the signatures, this wasn't done until the 15th.
Yeah, I don't know why she would sit on it for 4 days, but
Like, I get the frustration so far, but, you know.
I mean, at the end of the day, we have more tools than we had previously for these kind of things, so that those tools don't, you know. If delayed discovery did not work this way, it would be unlimited discovery inherently, because any little morsel would mean, oh boy.
everyone okay?
Yeah, I just heard that.
Let's go. Let's take a look.
Triage inside the garage next to it.
Whole bunch of shots at Davis.
Oh, there's a lot of cops here. Can you, Harris, can you 311 what channel courthouse situation?
Channel 2.
Are you heading towards you guys? Pathway.
Yeah, we have the Sultans behind each other. Out into Capital.
Oh, you 50'd. Your turn.
Chasing?
Yeah.
Doesn't look like it has a plus in now.
Has what in it?
Is it registered to Alex?
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, we're northbound El Rancho. Yeah, just tell them channel 2 on 301, Jenna.
I'm on channel 2. I'm just trying to...
Is Brandy shot at that courthouse?
Confirm it was that in the
Okay.
Look great, our Sultans crashed out at Tuner Shop. One female on green.
Apparently they got the suspect, I guess. So suspect was shot down. There's still an AT with the suspect. Yeah, okay. Well, this PD can deal with that.
Good to come in.
Yeah,
Yep.
sure. I see what you're saying, Knight. But if you're asking for me for my opinion here, I'd give a bit of leeway there. I get that 30 days is 30 days, but
I would agree it'd be a nice to have. It's just not the intention of the legislation is the problem, right?
Yeah.
Not to say that we can't make that change, right? Nothing stops an advocacy for it. Like, I think, so I'll tell you what I advocated for a very long time ago. I think before this, generation. I am of the belief that when there is an investigation, the standard is 30 days. Let's remove delayed discovery for just a moment off the table. But as the 30-day window is closing, law enforcement, in my opinion, especially if something is like a long-term investigation, which I think should include a murder, because when a murder happens, coming across the evidence needed to prosecute, especially in San Andreas, is very difficult unless someone outs themselves. And so at the end of it, and so whether it's whatever it is, at the end of the 30 days, law enforcement having a way to say, hey, here is what we have. We are looking for another 30 days. We effectively apply for that expansion, and that decision is made at some level. At the end of that 30 days, it's reapplied for, and it continues on with the intention of that review effectively being a matter of, is the investigation actually moving forward with like material work, right? Versus someone just being sat on it. And then number two, is the situation grand enough, right? For it. I think something like that would be nice. But I understand why the current expansion is the way it is. Like, I agree with you, Vale. Like, I think it would be good. It's just the issue is, unless you're saying that the current legislation implies we could charge someone.
Give me 1 second. So she died 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, right?
Yeah.
Is this a report or an instance so I can tag along?
It's a search warrant.
Okay.
Denied on 43516.
So hang on, the statute actually, the statute for that, given it's February and there's less days in February, the statute actually is the 13th. So the tail end of the 13th in British brain, it would be the very tail end of the 13th going into the 14th. So actually, her getting that subpoena together was like a 24, maybe 36-hour period, which, given that we don't work 24/7, is not. It's not as egregious as, oh, it's 5 days after, because it's not from the 10th of 1 month to the 10th of the next month, right? It's 30 days. And the 30th day after her death, if she died on the 11th, the 30th day after is either the 13th or the 14th. So it's actually like right on the line, effectively. That's like one shift's difference. But,
If it's ongoing, a murder isn't ongoing. Serial assault and killing is ongoing.
Maybe the sort of moral feeling of it, like it being cut short by that little amount of time. But when lawyers have had stuff denied for being minutes over the line.
Ain't wrong about that one.
it's sad to see like that happen over a murder, right? That's being investigated, and the fact that she only got that effectively right at the tail end, or presumably what the suspects believed to be the very tail end of it was.
Yeah.
I would. Okay, so here's the thing with the statute, right? Like, either it can be investigated and develop, or like nothing happens. So in this particular situation, I'd go with probably just let it be investigated, right? But that there's a reason we have the statute. There's a reason it is the way that it is. So there's two sides to every coin. But on balance, I'd if I were a justice, I'd probably bend a little bit. But I'm not a justice, so.
I think delayed discovery makes us think that these situations are inclusive, but the wording of delayed discovery is very like explicit, which is a discovery of a crime being had. So if we learned that it was a murder at 30 days starting right then and there. However, the delayed discovery of evidence tying to a suspect, unfortunately, is not inclusive. But, and I kind of like re-underline this, is that I agree with the sentiment. I think we should propose something forward. You know what I mean? To include this. Like, I think it's wild, in my opinion, that you can murder someone and then as soon as 30 days is over, you can be like, I did that shit. I think that someone going and creating evidence similar to what is the word I'm looking for?
I could boil it down a lot more simply.
Sure.
Like, statute should not apply to hate crimes. Like enemy of the state stuff, like murdering people, like it's more harmful than it is helpful.
I don't disagree with you. I think that would be a hard sell though, because right, it would get contested. But what is less likely, if this was something we did, right, to get contested, is the notion of if evidence comes to be that is of some level of significance, right, that can solve what would otherwise be an unsolvable crime, it should, delayed discovery should kick in and rewind
Agree.
back to the initial case. So that way it doesn't open it up to everything is potentially, because that's what's going to happen, right? This could be terrorism. Therefore, unlimited investigation, even though it may not be, right?
True.
But if we're saying, but if it was like, if you can show how material this new evidence is, maybe then it can get backfilled. But maybe I don't know.
I mean, there is
We're just
the
workshopping.
section that says, like, for crimes of a continuing nature, the statute of limitations shall commence in the last act of the crime. Now, for a murder, you could say that's a singular instance, but let's say someone kills someone, then 2 weeks later they get caught ditching the knife.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's the last act of the crime is the evidence tampering tied to the murder. I could hear a decent argument for someone saying that's when the statute should start if that knife is related to that murder, you know.
The other flip side of this is that law enforcement missed the Twitter post that was sent out. If they'd hopped on this earlier when the Twitter post has actually gone out on February 7th, they'd have had a better time to act on it as well. But because those were missed, that would have caused somewhat in the inference of this. They essentially just got reminded that evidence existed. It didn't bring any new sculptory evidence into scope.
Yeah, that's true.
Side note, were you off duty just now?
Yeah, I went and had some sushi.
Oh, gotcha. I was looking for you on dispatch, and I thought maybe I was just...
I'm here now.
How you doing, mate?
Yeah. Yeah, like I was saying, the whole thing there, if they'd found the Twitter post early on, which linked the two Faraday and Lincoln Page together, with the I'm not sorry, Wally, she's in Polito, which is February 7th, that would have done it. But all they essentially got reminded of that evidence existed, not that exculpatory evidence came into light.
Unrelated to this, any of you guys been paying attention to the Afro Man trial?
Who?
Oh.
I
You know,
actually
this-
I was
haven't looked up
gonna
his
go
audio.
to class, and then I got high.
Yeah, that guy. He's getting sued by cops
out of the
that
city.
raided him. Yeah. He's getting sued by cops that
I thought you
raided
meant
him
Dex.
because
I'm
no.
just kidding.
This trial makes me think of like if Jamal sued cops for raiding him because he made a song. Like, if cops sued Jamal
I
for
need to
raiding
stop.
him because he made a
Today's
song
one of
about him.
those days, Dad. Chat.
Wait, the cops are suing him?
Yeah, so cops raided Afro Man. They kicked in his gate. They kicked in his door. He made a song about it with like his own surveillance footage, and then they're suing him for defamation.
What?
Respect.
Yeah,
I don't know how that's possible.
Well,
Erica.
Part of it is he called them thieves because they took cash from him, and then when he got it back, there was less cash. But apparently, they just miscounted when they seized the cash to begin with. That is what they're claiming. But they're saying him calling them thieves is defamation.
I mean, defamation. Let's
Yeah,
just say
it's,
I am very, very familiar with defamation cases, given the space we're in. And defamation is, as per what I've learned, very, how do I put this?
very hard to prove.
Yes.
Yeah.
Unless you've got it, in which case
Because you
GGWP.
need to prove that you need to prove that what the person was saying is actually false.
Don't forget the Johnny Depp one as well. That was the one that put defamation on the map.
My dog stepped on a bee.
I've handled a couple
Hearsay on the
defamation
map,
cases
and then
in my
everyone else
time, chat.
understood it.
Yeah, true.
I know. I wish you hadn't told me about this with Opal, because I was reading about this arena thing the other day, and I was like, damn shame.
Yeah. Like,
And now I know that
sympathize
something
with
just
Opal.
like fucking slipped through the fingers.
Yeah. They probably could have got a nice open
Well,
and shut on that as
technically,
well.
that's not defamation.
I mean, likely. Yeah.
Defamation is like when you say
I mean,
shit.
to be fair, I read about a case where Wally West went up.
Is like
but
when
he, ended up
you
getting found out guilty for manslaughter.
when you say shit.
Can't remember that one.
I definitely fucking did it as well by the looks of the evidence.
And it doesn't hold merit. Like you're making shit up, effectively.
And because Wally West shot fucking Juno,
Yeah.
warrant's still out for him, and he hasn't been around.
You applied for bank tracking yet?
No, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's Woods' warrant. Woods hasn't been around to chase it. I've been dealing with a whole lot of stuff. I've already got it extended once.
Who is this? Sorry.
Wally West, active warrant. It was Woods' first first warrant, but Wally West is like named in this Reina Vergara.
Oh.
He's also, so I mean, if Wally West like fucking took Juno somewhere and shot her, Wally West could have also shot Reina. You know, and he's one of the people that was supposedly with in Polito.
Unless they find the weapon, they can't do fuck all.
Well, I don't know about fuck all, but not as much.
Yeah.
I fucking wish that you hadn't told me about this, because that's gonna boil my piss now.
Well, yeah, but we can take that and put something forward. You know what I mean? May not resolve what's already happened, but we can help resolve what happens in the future. You know, because Oh, this situation. Wait, that was Wally?
Supposedly, yeah.
There was so much shit happening that I didn't realize. Has he been around? Do you know?
No, that I know of. Springfield, tag in.
Huh?
Has Wally West been around?
I can look it up.
Please. You've got the handy dandy tool.
Why does Lovemore have 4 warrants for the same thing?
Wait a minute. Y'all should, for Wally West, y'all should request a bank tracking if it's serious enough.
It's Woods' thing.
Yeah, but I
There's
mean,
what Vale's
Woods
looking
is
at.
in SASM. If he's been busy, there's no reason why,
Yeah.
you know, oh, but this is attempted, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's
I don't
around
know.
very regularly.
Oh, okay. I renege on the
Right,
because it's attempted, right? It's not actual.
Yeah. You retconning that one?
Not retconning. I did say that shit.
You good, Vale?
Yeah, I just had to think something to myself.
Are you good?
Something that I can't say.
Say it,
Just
pussy.
No.
Just a response from Angel back about that charge rule. She says there's some minor changes that could happen with it.
I feel like you will agree with what I was just thinking,
Mm.
Knight, but I can't say it.
I understand. Chat, clip it and ship it.
But yeah, Vale seems Angel is on the same page. She says there's some minor oversights could be worded better.
Faulkner. Question for
Yeah.
you. When are we going to, or when does the Department of Justice plan to legislate how voting works again?
What do you mean?
But right now in legislation, there's no legislation to say how voting works. Just that we have the right to vote, but there's nothing that says how we can vote.
I mean, what type of thing are you looking for?
Well, there was in the Civil Services Act exists. It was all repealed from the Civil Services Act, but there's been no legislation placed forward to replace how we vote. Can you campaign on state grounds anymore? Anything of the such? Where voting happens, how long the periods are, but it was all repealed.
Who did that?
Oh, have you
None but
looked at those fucking tweets?
The mayors. Yeah, I have looked at the tweet. Yeah, I have looked at the tweet.
Wait, what is this? What is what's the report number?
No, I'm looking at the subpoenas thing.
Hmm.
I'm not sorry, Wally. She's in Polito.
Typing on Reddit now with it? No, I mean, like, send it to me. I figured it was one of those things. What the fuck is wrong with y'all,
nothing
chat?
set forward to
What
then
the
replace.
hell, guys?
What does Denzel do?
Nothing.
I couldn't comment on that.
Listen, the only thing he does is have me regurgitate the same thing 4 times over because each time no one talks to him and he doesn't retain it and he acts like it's new information. He hasn't written a damn piece of legislation since he came in. You know, he co-signed some shit, but let's be real. We know who did the work.
So she was in
okay.
ICU,
Yeah.
right? She was in ICU. She wrote this while she was like, she was gonna have a surgery, and then she died in surgery, right? That's essentially what happened. Is that she wrote her last words.
Oh, I got a Death Stranding code.
Faraday and Mark.
Oh,
Bruh.
Yep.
I've had this for like 2 weeks.
Please don't let me die as they've. Fuck, man! Investigate this.
Investigate this.
Yeah, like.
Well, one could argue that there was more crime that occurred now as a consequence. It was more. It could have been second degree. This is now showing first. So is it now delayed? No.
Probably not. Is it exculpatory?
I don't know why.
This deserves to be investigated. These subpoenas deserve to go through. Raina deserves that. I don't know how much more plainly I can say it. Like, if this was only just published, if prior to this, if she had some idea, what way can you swing this that allows it to be investigated? Oh, it's conspiracy.
Why would it be conspiracy?
Now you know this conspiracy.
It falls back on though.
Because it's multiple people.
But still, you could have.
Her last words confirmed that there were multiple people there. That's conspiracy. That's delayed discovery of the fact that it's a conspiracy, no?
I don't think so, because they conspired at the time, right? It's because you discovered it then when the evidence was already pre-available. Where are you pulling that bit from?
It's her statement of her suspicion of what crime? Like conspiracy to first-degree murder. First-degree murder, we know that it was she knew that it was probably a murder beforehand when she subpoenaed Raina, right? But only, now granted, obviously somebody missed those tweets, but we can't be expected to document literally everything. And if nobody documented it at the time, then nobody documented it at the time. Nobody was aware of it. Nobody knew. Also, how would you know, given that random tweet? How would anyone know other than somebody who was paying immense attention to, number one, the ICU, number two, for then, somebody would have had to have been paying attention to the tweets, gone to the call, paid attention to the ICU of Raina, known that she was going into surgery, and then known that she died. All of those things would have been cogent on somebody knowing about the relevance of those tweets and happened to have seen them amongst all the fucking thousands of bits of shitty drivel that are put onto Twitter every day. In the context of this notebook being given to Frank and then to Opal, in the context of that, and the poor likelihood of anybody knowing all of those things and being cognizant of all of those things in the city that we live in, that's delayed discovery of conspiracy, no?
I don't think so.
Being made aware of those tweets and how they link back to her final words where she said, I am a victim of these 3 people, before she went in for a surgery that she didn't survive.
But it didn't bring in any new exculpatory evidence. That's what I'm saying. Is like,
Well, yes, it did, though. Her statement alone is delayed discovery of additional evidence.
But the statement was made at the time.
The statement wasn't made public, right, prior to her going in for surgery. It was published in the newspaper. Where was it published before then?
So you then pointed doctors, right? But why did the doctors not report that up? Because they had on the onus at that point then to believe a crime was committed.
Sure. And that's valid.
It doesn't add.
So that widens the scope towards the doctors, but it does add something new. Her statement alone adds something new to delayed discovery. How much did Opal know about the suspects prior?
This is a good conversation.
It's a question for Opal, really, but how much did she know prior to being given that notebook? Prior to being given that notebook, how much did she know about the suspects? Because if she didn't know anything about the suspects other than that there was some random people who were in contact with her, with Raina.
The flip side is you also have Wally as well, because Wally didn't contact law enforcement to report the matter. Because Wally, it was a phone call to Wally, wasn't it? So
Right,
even
but
though it's posted
all
in
I'm
the paper,
looking at here, I'm not looking at the material facts of it. All I'm looking at here is in what way is it delayed discovery for Opal? And if she had no knowledge of the fact that those 3 people were involved until that statement was published in the newspaper, which was a few days ago, then that's delayed discovery of probable cause to suspect, well, reasonable suspicion that either of these people were involved, no?
The thing is, though, I would argue at that point, though, this was initially detectable. And via the way this would have been initially
How was the statement initially detectable?
Well, you'd have been able to subpoena the records of Wally West to see there was a phone call regarding Rayner at that point. Because here's the question, right? So let's have a look for Rayner. Let's see if there's a DOA report.
This is a good conversation.
She died in surgery.
There is a DOA. So there is
I'm
a DOA.
wondering how the book got from the hospital to
Frank.
the newspaper.
So here's the other
anonymous
thing, right?
phone call and an anonymous ping.
So did a doctor hold on to that for a month?
Maybe.
So here's the other thing, right? Ruby York, did go to the DOA and deal with the ICU situation and never did anything further with the phone to investigate the phone. So if the phone had been investigated, the phone call would have been seen that she had called Wally West before the operation happened, could have contacted Wally West. I'm playing what I would do if I was an defense attorney here and arguing how you don't have the latest discovery.
An offense attorney.
An offense attorney.
You know, we are offense officers, if we're going to be honest. You know, we ain't pissing people off, then we ain't doing it right.
True. Yeah, this is the thing. If you had, the thing is, you had the phone of Rayner. So why was the phone not searched to see if anything was? So you would have been.
Yeah, but that's a question
detectable.
for Ruby. That's not a question for Opal.
Yeah, but it still falls under the same umbrella, right?
No, because it's not the same person investigating it. If you're that as a defense attorney, then you would be assuming that every single person from the police department communicates every single thing that they interact with. That one officer failed does not preclude another officer from doing their job and finding things out. And if Opal was only made aware, you know, in the middle of March, essentially, then what is she to do? She can't like retroactively go back in time and make another cop do their job. That's a question of negligence for that other cop. So but from the perspective of this person investigating it, she didn't know. She had no way to know, and now she does
but that's how it works. So unfortunately, this is a very good conversation.
A offense attorney, I would go shrug. Not my fault. Law enforcement don't communicate with each other. Do better next time.
Yeah, unfortunately, what Harris is saying is kind of how it goes. Is this question was drawn initially, even in SASM early on, is like, well, if local law comes across something and SASM has no idea, is their failure still something we have to take on? And effectively, the answer is yes. So if someone did not do their job, even as the main investigator who was never given this information, it's sort of looked at not on a department level, but as a all law enforcement level.
It should be the complete fucking opposite on an individual level.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
what did Opal know? Did Opal have any way to know? No?
No.
Okay, then Opal didn't know.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
I do. It's that and I get your perspective, but historically, recently, I know things have gone back and forth over many years, but as of right now, things are looked at through a institutional lens rather than a investigator from the perspective of an institute, the collective institute of law enforcement, rather than on an individual level.
I think I am probably one of a very small minority of LEOs that reads more or less every report since the last time I was on duty, every time I come on duty. I am probably in a significant minority.
I think a lot of us in SASM do it. Like we all just catch up.
Yeah, but but look at the drop in the pond we are comparatively, right? And then you have officers that might be coming to the end of their shift, so they don't do something because they want to go 42. You might have officers who get pulled away to another call. There's a 78, something like that. They have to drop what they're doing and go do something else. Someone gets kidnapped. A cop gets kidnapped. Blah, blah, blah. A million billion things can happen, and that's an unreasonable standard to hold LEOs to. in the environment in which we live and work. With that said, if Opal didn't know this until a few days ago, then I would argue that delayed discovery should be allowed, frankly. Like, someone died. This isn't like a drug call from 40 days ago, you know?
Mm. I think we all agree with you on a moral perspective. And I think
It's heartbreaking. This spoiled my piss so much.
Oh, yeah. I think,
like, don't get me wrong, like, as much as I'm playing advocate right now, like, it's annoying. Like, it's frustrating the way this is. But I'm just giving the side of what would probably happen if someone tried to play it and a half decent defense attorney picked it up.
You know, I mean, that's why I made the Callahan clause, because I had a case where someone got murdered. I was convinced that the person that they were saying did it had done it, but they were going for first degree and they didn't prove intent. So I had to let that person walk. And I was like, well, this doesn't feel like justice. So that's why I said, if murder is being charged, then the second degree manslaughter can be considered.
I think the ability for that's good. The ability for justices to just be like, well, it doesn't satisfy this, but it is still murder. I think that's good. That's very good.
There's also alternative charging, which we used to do so much of, and it hasn't been done in this iteration, and it's something that I want to do, but I don't even know if people remember what that looks like. So, has there been any discussion on something like that, Faulkner? Alternative charging. So we put a docket post in and we say, hey, this is drug trafficking, or it's, this other thing, right? And so
It's not really been discussed, but it's not really came up to us from other people.
Would that be something that could be brought up? Because as we solidify, based on my barometer, and my barometer is the old detective unit, we are slowly reaching a point where we're going to be able to get more cases up, but alternative charging comes into play. And I'll give you the example, right? You catch someone doing, say, terrorism. We believe it, or not, actually, let's say drug trafficking, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you're on this fine line between drug trafficking and felony intent to distribute. And ultimately it comes down to the argument on both sides. But because that argument is in this gray space where it could really go either way and just depends on the argument, for them to get not guilty on everything is unfortunate, because what that means also is, like, okay, you won that's not drug trafficking, but you then at least did the thing one step lower, right?
Yeah.
And
I agree. I think it depends on the crime, like, because I read it for murder, right? Because so in a murder case, someone died. That there should be something coming out of that.
Yeah.
Well, it's also a linear scale as well.
Yeah. I also don't want to encourage, we don't want to encourage lazy prosecution where you just put the highest up and then just hope the judge will figure it out, like, at the end.
Well, I think it's less of a figure out thing, because, like, alternative charging still requires you to prove the bare minimum and describe the,
That's an ideal situation, but, we don't always deal with ideal cases and ideal prosecutors.
Yeah. The reason I even bring it up is we've been dealing with this a lot, right? Where it's like, we know it's this bigger thing, but now it's a choice of give them the less thing and forget about the big thing, because I'd rather the little thing for the long term, right? Or alternatively, we cut loose, do all the work, and then maybe it's just a warrant, right? But the thing is, like, because for cases where it is, I don't know, maybe even if it was just select charges, like I mentioned, right? Stockpiling versus weapons trafficking, they're both big charges, but the question is which side of the fence. It's a matter of opinion.
Yeah, I can bring it up and see Angel's thoughts on it.
Yeah. I do agree with you though. You know, there should be some fencing there, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like it's either murder or assault with deadly. I mean, there should be
Yeah,
an
exactly.
argument presented as a part of it, right? And I think that's how we used to do it, if I remember correctly. You would say, for example, we, the prosecution, believe it's murder, and but we should be able to argue why if we're not arguing why we believe it's murder, I don't know. But then again, at the same time, though, Faulkner, like, I mean,
Hey, Alex,
I imagine the DOJ wants more things going to the court anyways, so what really is lost?
'Cause, like,
24251.
At a bench trial, right? Well, at least the way it used to be was at a bench trial, we would, if it felt appropriate to downgrade charges, we would. The docket cases, we wouldn't. Only for the reason that, you know, a bench trial is sort of, the prosecution's maybe on the back foot. That's why we allowed that sort of wiggle room, whereas on a docket case, you know, you've got time to get your ducks in a row.
But the thing is, though, like, it's about justice at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
And so, and I agree with you, like, because I think those are two different things. One, I agree with you on the bench trial notion, but alternative charging isn't really putting a lower charge because that's a judge's discretion. Whereas alternative charging is the prosecution saying, hey, we believe it's murder, but if the judiciary does not believe it's murder, well, it's going to be this other thing then, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and it wouldn't be that it's because it's not a ducks in order thing. You can bring, whether the quality's higher or the quality's low, it's more so a matter of, well, don't try for the fences, right? Even though the fences make sense. Like, hey, I know, I believe, I'll give you actually a perfect example. My old chief of police died when a bomb was placed on the top of Mission Row, and it was targeted by individuals that had blown up a bunch of other things. And the dumb fuck that oversaw that court case, may he rest in peace, he didn't understand affirmative defense. So when all the evidence pointed at a individual whose GPS locations were at every bombing, you know, all this kind of stuff, it would have been a, hey, did you do terrorism and But if you didn't do this, well, you got then you didn't do anything, right? But it would have been a lot, like, you know, having that, you know? Yeah.
That makes sense.
Anyways, this has been a healthy discussion all around. All right.
I'm molding.
Why?
I already said why.
But
just
the
molding.
Reyna
Oh.
multiple thing.
Yep.
Oh.
I get having standards. I get having, you know, kind of expectations and stuff like that. But sometimes the standard for what is reasonable, at the end of the day, you don't want to encourage like cops to be lazy, right? You don't want to encourage people not doing their due diligence. But when that extends, when that extends to a standard that is like unreasonable in terms of the pace of things that go on in the city and the amount of things that people have to
I
deal
agree
with
with
every
what
single day,
she's
it's like,
saying, by the way, chat.
I think that this should just be considered from like an Opal POV, rather than, oh well, some other member of law enforcement was aware of it. Why weren't you aware of it? You suck.
I would say not even just an Opal
fail.
POV, but rather even the victim. Imagine you can die and then your grave can be danced on.
Imagine you can die and then, you know, people gloat about it, and there's nothing that can be done because 30 days, another cop knew about it.
Well,
You know,
to be fair,
it's-
Opal was the one who pulled her phone records the day she died. Opal was here. Opal was involved since the day of the death, at least. Opal was the one that wrote
Right.
the phone subpoena for, like, so it wasn't like
So she
this
did
got dumped on
investigate the
Opal.
phone.
Like, Opal knew about this on the 11th of February, at least.
Yeah, so she didn't have any RS or rather any PC to look into further phone records because nothing was readily apparent. Right.
I mean,
So
that
they're
part,
gonna-
I didn't
Well,
take that much of a deep dive into the records, but
I mean, I'd have to look at the records myself, but okay, let's play devil's advocate. She didn't have enough to go into other people's records, right? Maybe nothing was readily apparent. Maybe she didn't see the tweets. I don't know. And then she gets this, which gives her the PC to look into these other people. And it just happens to be
Oh my
time-wise.
god! Chat! Crimson
the
Desert
line.
is getting cracked ratings.
It really,
What the
I
fuck?
mean, it's pretty clear which side of the fence I'm on, right? Like, I think that this
8.5 to
has-
9.5
we owe it to Reina
ratings.
to investigate it.
Wait,
rather,
is it actually going to be that
Collectively
good?
As law enforcement, we owe it to
Oh wait,
investigate it. It should be
Eurogamer says
investigated.
3 of 5. Dual Shocker says 9.5. I'm looking at the
What
other.
can you do if you only get that information like 48 hours before the end of statute?
It's getting Game Rant 8 of 10. Okay.
Something like that. Like, it takes time to write a subpoena, right?
Some are actually saying 6. Okay. Some are kind of like it's. Some people are saying it feels like a single player MMO. I mean, we'll try it out.
Can't imagine.
Oh shit. All right. Well, I'm gonna go out there and patrol. All right, guys. Appreciate y'all.
Ride together for midnight.
Yeah.
well, I'll let you guys know if I hear anything about the alternate charging thing.
Ooh, thank
Let me know
you
if
so
you hear
much.
about voting regulations too.
Will do.